Is recording in 4K gonna give me body dysmorphia and dysphoria? Only time will tell. Hey Hodies, welcome back to my channel. My name is hautemesstom and thank you so much for clicking on this video. Today we're going to be doing a we're going to be very kind to me, and I'm going to be very kind to myself. I am going to be recording just like a Let's Play with makeup. There's not a real goal in mind with this Let's Play with makeup. As you may or may not notice, you could be potentially watching this in 4K if the device you're watching on can handle 4K. A lot is different with this camera, and I am learning things. I'm recording external audio because the microphone that came with my camera is not great, even though I bought it because it came with like an external microphone. I'm going to try really hard not to get too into the weeds with the camera of it all, but if I'm out of focus sometimes, or if anything weird happens throughout the progression of this video, I hope you will give me a little bit of a pass. I just pulled out some stuff. A lot of Victoria Beckham because I'm still kind of like in the feeling of that video where I was like, I didn't buy anything from the Victoria Beckham sale. One important thing to note, and I need a pass because I'm adjusting to this, is that my monitor is over here. My monitor used to be right above the camera. I could kind of get away with looking at my monitor the whole time. And I know that I can't do that because it'd be really weird if I just did my whole video looking like this. That's where the monitor is. I had the weirdest work day. I'm already nervous to record on this, and I'm already nervous that I'm gonna have to line up audio later, which like is, I've done it before, but I like really hate to do it. And I'm also having trouble not looking at myself. Because of vanity. I'm sure I'm going to show up like more red than I usually do. Patrons have already seen a little snippet of me in 4K because I was like, just a test, and I wanted to see what it would look like. And I'm going to take some of this Makeup Forever green color corrector primer, and I'm just going to slather that on. My eyebrows are a little bit irritated. I didn't do the best job. Wow, this was a lot of the primer. I did not mean to put this much on. The hopes, obviously, with 4K is that you'll be able to more realistically see color and texture. I know someone's gonna ask. It's a Canon EOS R10. This camera is like no joke. I like watched a whole YouTube video on how to do it. So I am recording with like an actual battery. I used a dummy battery for my old camera because my old camera had like this intense propensity to overheat, which is like a thing. So I don't know how long I've really got until this overheats. I bought a new, what's it called, memory card that holds 516 gigs. Little thing. Now, if you're from the 90s, you understand that like something this big could never have held 500 some gigs of memory before. Today's technology can, which is kind of bananas, isn't it? So this is the Surratt Dewdrop Concealer. I use shades 1 and 2, if you're new here. I thought that the 4K of it all might give me a little bit of like a complex, a little bit of like a scare, a jump scare, but it does mostly just kind of like look like I do in real life, which is cool, right? I'm looking a little bit white in the monitor. I don't know a lot about cameras and photography. I did like as much research as I was willing to do on like what camera to buy in my price range, which this camera is considered a budget camera. I'm gonna be using the Surratt Surreal Skin foundation. I think I'm almost done with it. It's not pumping out like it used to. I don't need to buy this again right away. So it's like if it's almost done, I'm just going to keep the container for it. I put the foundation on the wrong side of this brush just to show you how much I'm like just kind of out of it. Like right now it's focusing on my left eye. Last night it was focusing on my nose, which seems now it's focusing on my right eye. Are you okay? Should we name the camera? You can name the camera. Leave a comment. What should I name the camera? It doesn't have to do also jump scare, I guess. I did shave off Maria today. So my favorite thing to do when I'm not feeling at my best emotionally is to, if I don't have a mustache, start growing a mustache. Maria is my mustache, by the way, if you missed that. I never have an intention of doing like a handlebar mustache, and I don't want to buy like a balm to keep my mustache in place. And like I was like, I have this feeling that in 4K I'm not gonna enjoy seeing my hairs. I have started saying this particular story 7 times, and I'm gonna finish it right now. I'm not gonna put any more makeup on while I'm telling you this because I want to get it out. I looked at my last video, and I looked at the video that my patrons, like I gave to my patrons last night. Like it's literally like a little clip of just me in 4K for the first time. It looks like I have a filter on, and I promise you that I never put a filter on my videos before, but the drastic change from that video to this video is going to be like the Vaseline filter from RuPaul's Drag Race season 1 getting removed. Like it's pretty bananas. My patrons have said that it feels like they're sitting across, like directly across from me. So that's great. We love that. Like we're bonding, we're getting close. I'm now wondering if my black clothes are going to be like too dark for this new setup, or do I need more lighting in the back? I guess that's something that I'll figure out for myself later. I don't need to figure that out right now. I'm gonna use the Ritual Defeat Intuition. No. This, which is Ritual Defeat's Intuition. No, Inner Glow Cream Pigment. I washed my brushes. I do have intentions on using freshly washed, what brand are they? Rephr brushes, because I was using them fresh out the box. They do feel a little bit softer already just after washing them, so I might like them more, but I make no promises. I mean, I guess that's okay. Also, like, do you really need me to like the rephr brushes? Everyone else likes them. Well, I have actually no Sonia G eye brushes. I'm wondering if I wouldn't like those either. I'm not doing anything like too dramatic. Again, I'm trying to keep everything super simple for the purposes of hopefully for me. One thing that's nice about this camera, which I did use my other camera for, by the way, is if I tilt the camera, it will then record that way instead of me having to edit it in post to be the right way, which I love. Make my life easier, especially since I'm committing to doing 31 days of like short form content on my Instagram. You can follow me on Instagram if you'd like. You don't have to though. Again, as always, the extracurriculars are optional. Okay, I'm not so scared. I'm not so scared. My skin's looking good in real life, which means the transitive property is that I will also look, why am I blurry? Means that I will also look good in 4K. Let's pray. Let us pray. Pray for me. An incredibly fruitless task to pray for me. For blush today, I haven't played with these on camera in a bit. So these restocked over the weekend. I'm fairly certain they're all gone. But the Summer Abroad collection with Kackie and Finding Ferdinand. I'll be using the shade Latte and Olay. And I'm gonna be using a Sonia G mini base brush. I did, if you ever are wondering what brushes I like the most that I use, I don't always link my brushes and I don't feel like a strong affiliation with brushes, but I have noticed more and more recently that many of you are asking me what brushes I'm using. So I made a shop my shelf. So there's like my favorite tools section in my description box. If you click on that, it'll take you to the shelf and show you the brushes that I use the most and I like the most. So if there is a brush that I do use that's not listed there, just know that that means that it's like not my favorite. I'll use brushes that I think are just okay, but I'm putting the stars of the show in there. Now, just as a heads up, in case you are someone who's interested in the tools that I like the most, I don't have any eye brushes on there. My favorite eye brushes are the old Wayne Goss brushes. I mean, I obviously don't know how good the new ones might end up being, but I still have my old ones and they're still in fine working condition. Now, I'm thinking about trying some Sonia G eye brushes. She just released like a beautiful set of like these wooden handled brushes that are like literally so pretty. So I might try those out. My brushes work for me. So like I think the last brush I bought was actually for a video, and it was this BK 106 brush or 105 brush for the video I did where I was like, Kackie, what the hell are you using this big brush for? Turns out I also like the brush. But the one before that I bought for a reason is like I didn't have a good bronzer brush, so I bought the Sonia G Jumbo Base because I have spent some time investing in the tools that I use to do my makeup. Typically, brushes are something that if you invest in them and you take good care of them, they're not something that has like a high need for being replaced, and I think that's great. Like tools are pretty expensive even if you are buying cheap ones. Like I'm not talking e.l.f., but I'm talking like Sephora collection. When you think of Sephora collection makeup, pretty inexpensive. Sephora collection brushes are like almost just as much as Sonia G brushes, right? So it's like I pick my poison. I spend a little more on my tools and then I like, I love on them. I take care of them. And then they last me a long time. If there's anything to invest in, obviously I like more expensive formulas, but I would say saving up for tools is smarter than saving up for nicer formulas because even less expensive formulas start performing better when you have better tools in which to do your makeup with. I went a little bit ham for me on my blush recently. I say that it's like I used to wear so much blush. I was watching an old video. My friend Brittany and I of Born Blushing had a little like, I'll link her channel down below. We had a little, first of all, okay, also, side note, two of my faves, Born Blushing, Brittany and Stephanie, the style stumbler, did this amazing collab over the weekend, and I got my best, like I was living my best life. Anyway, Brittany and I had a little like small content creator get together, meaning we basically just, we used Zoom, but you know, we FaceTime. And then we like obviously talked about our lives, but you know, we also got to share a little bit about content creation, which is like really nice because this is a very strange space to exist in, especially on the smaller scale. And there's like definitely woes at every level of content creation, but it's just like we're kind of at a more similar size. I maybe just like I have more subscribers than her, but like we're basically in the same place at where our channels are. So it's like nice to be able to be like, what are you doing? What's happening over there? Can you like let me know? Because I'm not like, really sure what's happening over here. I think there was another point to that story and I've now forgotten it, and I'll catch it in editing and be like, well, whatever. Now editing me is gonna look like a real potato. Like I already look like a potato when editing me pops in. Potato check. It's time to powder. So I'm gonna use my typical powder brushes for this. So I think my next brush that I would buy would be a nice powder brush. Now I had an hourglass one, but it was like one of those dual-ended ones, and I hate that. Like I don't, for the eye brushes, I don't like it, but I like specifically dislike it when it comes to face brush because they're so big and like the weight of the brush itself is going to like certainly crush whatever end ends up being at the bottom. So the brush would always just like sit on my vanity, and it's so funny because I'm such a clutter person when it comes to like my life. My whole life is just like pretty cluttered. And so it's like very funny that like I have this, I was like, I can't handle that, that's too much clutter. So I'm gonna be using the Givenchy Prisme Libre powder. I'm not gonna return it or anything. I like this powder enough to like definitely use it up. I think it's a really nice powder. Now, correct me if I'm wrong, I talked about in a Critical Sass, maybe early this year or late last year, that they were going to release a pressed version of this. Where is it? Like, where did it go? Because I really like the quality of this powder, but I really don't like loose powders. I hadn't used a loose powder with regularity in some time, so it's been like, I'm like learning over again that like I really don't care for loose powder. Now, I have heard in passing, so I don't know where this information comes from, that loose powder works better on the under eyes, especially if you are someone who has like a lot of texture on your under eyes, or if you have like concerns and signs of aging, which is not a bad thing. So that's something to consider, but I really don't like messing around with it. And then I'm gonna use the Chantecaille Perfect Blur powder with my smooth buffer brush from Sonia G. If my blush ever looks really crazy before I powder, I will also put I'll put the Chantecaille powder over the blush because it's like I'm trying to reel it in. I think the eye look I'm gonna go for today, because I'm gonna use another one of the Surratt Soufflé eyeshadows today. I'm going to use the rephr. Oh no, let me bronze first. I'm also going to use a rephr brush for that. I'm going to use the rephr 22 brush. I will just put a general rephr link in my description box in case you're interested in these. It will be like an affiliate link, only because I think it's more important for you to look at shapes that you need as opposed to like just choosing ones because I have them, because I was like offered to pick from a certain selection of things. Obviously they offered a lot. I also have some skincare from them. I haven't started using it because I want to use up my other stuff first. I picked for the like intense moisture for the evening. Well, they recommend it for dry skin, but I like something really intense for when I'm asleep. I don't feel like it's that intense even for me. Like I definitely have put on moisturizers where I'm like, something's happening here, but I'm not sure I feel that way about it, but I like it. And also rephr's packaging. And like, even though like I feel like that the brush handles are a little clunky for my taste, everything feels really luxe and expensive. Also, just know about rephr, in case you've never heard about them before or heard of them before, there's a couple things to know. They run a couple really great sales throughout the year. So I would suggest to you, and I think one's going on right now. I don't know how much stock they have left, but like that, it's like they were running it all of November with however much stock they have. Okay, that's one time to buy them. They also will sometimes do concept stores where they're trying like out a new brush shape. Oh, I'm using the number 18 for highlighter, and I'm using this old Pat McGrath iridescent pink thing. You can't buy this anymore. If you happen to have it and you want to use it, here's a reminder to use it. So the concept store, you buy the brush at cost, and then part of that transaction is that you review the brush on their website. And I have not done that before, but that's another way to get them less expensive. I would say you can wait for one of the sales. I wouldn't buy a rephr brush full price, not because I don't think they're nice and I don't think they're worth it, but my thing with brands that do a lot of sales is they kind of pigeonhole themselves as a brand who goes on sale a lot. I've been subscribed to their emails for some time. Rephr is one of those brands where it's just like, I feel like they're often on sale. So I would just say like, it's worth it just waiting for like a holiday or like a random sale. The thing is, I feel like you don't often get to prepare for them. They just kind of like, and there's a sale. And now you can shop the sale now. So it's not something like you can prepare for, but I do think they normally do a Black Friday sale. And I think like, I feel like they went on sale on Labor Day. I feel like they went on sale on Memorial Day. I don't like 100% know that, but I just feel like I get emails from them fairly regularly that there's a hefty discount on them. And I do think that some influencers also have promo codes that come up sometimes. I don't have one with them. Just things to be cognizant of. I don't want you to think that I'm shitting on rephr. I also feel this way about Pat McGrath. And I mean that outside of the fact that I like don't really care for the brand Pat McGrath anymore. They just always run sales. There's literally no reason for you to pay full price for Pat McGrath, literally ever. And that's a reputation she's done to herself. So I feel the same way about rephr. Is like they kind of, their reputation is, why would you ever pay full price for a rephr product? I'm going to start working on my eyes. I'm going to use the Victoria Beckham eyewear. Now, my thing, it did the thing, has fallen out once already on me. So I gotta be more careful about it. So just something to know. However, I will say personally, and I'm sure that other people have had different experiences, I've not met an eyeshadow stick or like any kind of cream stick where that, like thin cream stick where that didn't happen. Okay. And so I'm going to use the rephr 12 brush to blend that out. Oh, I lost a hair. Cool. It's like one of those things where like I just washed my brushes, so like I probably agitated something. But it is a little annoying because I feel like I'm not that I dislike these rephr brushes. I just feel like I'm the first person I've ever heard not like 100% be like, rephr brushes are 100% worth it. I don't know that I feel that way. Anyway, just losing one bristle hair, it happens sometimes. Even with my really expensive brush, like it has happened. Like it happens, right? But it's just one of those things where it's like, this is a new brand to me and I'm like, you know, I'm not really feeling impressed by that. In case you didn't know, I'm here to tell you, Spotify is no longer tracking listens for Spotify Wrapped, and they don't start up again until the new year, I don't think. So if you've been avoiding something to listen to because you didn't want to end up in your Spotify Wrapped, you are free to listen to it now. And am I telling you this because I have started listening to something a lot because Spotify is no longer checking? Yes. Now, here's the thing. Taylor Swift is going to end up in my Spotify Wrapped. I know that. I don't want her to be number one. And it's not because I don't think I've listened to enough Taylor Swift to warrant her being number one, because I, in fact, do think I have. My thing is, it's just like, I've been exploring her because Tiffany, my best friend and roommate, they are very into Taylor Swift. So I like kind of hear Taylor Swift all the time just because. I don't know. I just don't feel like, I've, obviously, it doesn't matter. In the grand scheme of things, what I'm complaining about, it doesn't matter. I just don't feel like, it wouldn't feel truthful, even though it would be truthful if I listened to a lot of Taylor Swift. In case you didn't know, Taylor Swift released the 1989 Taylor's version, and which means that these are the ones that now Taylor Swift will make money on. I'm using that same brush, but I'm also using a different Victoria Beckham eyewear. This is the shade Pecan. Someone pointed out that me and Kackie say it differently, and I don't know which way I say it, to be honest. I think I'm one of those people where it's like I'm a fair weather friend. It's like however the other person I'm with says pecan is how I'll say it, because I'm not like committed. I'm gonna get into a little more of the weeds technology wise, by the way, just for 1 second. So a lot of DSLRs cut you off at 30 minutes. Now this one's supposed to go for 2 hours. We'll see. I'm about to hit the 30-minute mark, but everything seems to be going smoothly. I feel like if I move too crazy, the autofocus, she takes a minute, you know? She really is like, where'd you go? I feel like it looks like I'm sitting in the darkest room ever. And I already felt like that, but I feel like now it looks like I'm even in a darker room. I hadn't used this brush, or one of the rephr brushes with the Victoria Beckham eyewears. Typically, and I'm not saying this is like a general rule of thumb, typically with brushes, synthetic and like combination natural and synthetic brushes are typically what are used for like cream, like they like recommend those for cream. So I'm thinking of like the Fusion series from Sonia G, which I have a lot of, which is like they were designed with like creams in mind. So I'm fairly certain rephr is all natural hair. I don't know if they have a vegan line or if that's, I don't know. Listen, I'm not doing a deep dive on rephr. I'm just telling you what I know about the brushes that I have experienced. Colin will tell you. Colin has already corrected me in the comment section about my rephr, and it's like very funny because I'm like, I could have looked that up. Did I? No, I didn't. I liked this a lot for the cream brushes. I hadn't used this one yet though, I don't think, because it's like it's a shape that I don't often use when I'm doing eyeshadow looks, but I did like it with the eyewears. Like, I think it did a really good job blending those both out. I think I look really like super blended. I'm wondering how this is gonna go when I zoom you in for like when I'm like doing an eye look where I'm like, I would like you zoomed in. I will tell you this though. These two brushes I have fallen in love with from rephr. And this is for my people who love smudgy eyeliner. I have the rephr number 3 and the rephr 23. So the rephr 3 is just like a basic pencil brush. It's smaller than my other pencil brush. Let me get the one that I have used up until now. When I've been using a pencil brush, I've been using this one from an old Sephora set. So you can see how much smaller it is. So I love this. I don't actually have very big eyes, but I can use tools that aren't designed for hooded eyes or smaller eyes, but having them is really nice. And then the 23, I'm gonna hold the 23 up with the 3. Just like look at how much smaller that is. So what I've been loving with these is smudging out the Victoria Beckham liners with these instead of the smudger. They work so well for it, even better than the smudger, because these do not tug on my skin, but this smudger tugs on my skin. I've been over it before, but I don't like when things tug on my skin because, you know, that's whenever that promotes like fine lines and wrinkles. And while there's absolutely nothing wrong with fine lines and wrinkles, I think we should also celebrate them. But I think if I can do things in my power to avoid them, why not? You know, and that's like a, you know, that's a free way to, no, not a free way, but like, you know, it's less expensive than Botox to like try to prevent it, you know? I pulled out so many things. Mimi was sitting right here on this desk and I used the and I mean, that's nothing wrong with using the Finding Ferdinand ones. I'm all confused. I'm all turned around. I'm nervous, okay? All right, so I'm going to take the Satin Cajole liner in the shade Ash. And I'm gonna do like a little bit of a wing, but we're not gonna like, it doesn't need to be perfect. And I'm also gonna take it like all the way in, which I don't usually do with my eyeliner, but since I've had these brushes, I've been really loving a smudgy liner look. Now, it's gonna get covered up by what we're about to do, so it's like not that big of a deal. But I'm taking the number 23 brush and I'm just buffing that out in the inner part of my eye. And then I'm gonna take the number 3 and do like the rest. I just have been loving like this really lived in liner look quite a bit. Like, who needs a perfect wing when like you can just take a brush to it and just smudge it out? Now, obviously, it doesn't keep its depth when you do this. Like and so what you can do is in the parts that you want more definition, go back in with the liner. Like I want it to be a little darker on the outer portion here and then go back in. Hello, hair. What are you doing here? Just buff that in. That's a really sexy eye look. Just right there. And then I'm gonna do the same thing to the other eye. The reason that I actually don't I hadn't for a long time taken my eyeliner all the way over is that like I do have smaller eyes in proportion to the rest of my face. And doing that closes the eyes off. And like, you know what? like I never really play by makeup rules. So it's like, why do I care that my eyes look smaller? Like, I'm not a professional makeup artist, and would I expect a professional makeup artist to know that and maybe not do that on me? Yeah. But I am me. I'm not a professional makeup artist. And then I'm gonna just tightline my eyes real quick. And then I am gonna go back in with the number 23 and smudge that out a little bit from my waterline into, like, onto the skin. You know, just kind of like to give that, like, I might have slept in this makeup look. I really like those two brushes. If you have smaller eyes, you might really like those brushes. They're really small, but they're really, really effective. I didn't use any of the like the other blending brushes today, so we'll to be determined on the blending brushes. That was like the ones that I like really didn't care for the last time I was trying my rephr brushes. So we'll see. For the lid, I'm going to put Nuage d'Argent, the Surratt soufflé eyeshadow. And then I'm just gonna apply it with my finger. I heard Kackie say in her video that went up the other day that she has applied them with brushes. I have not done that yet. I wouldn't even begin to know what brush that I would want to use this with. So I'm gonna build it up a bit. I'm just doing like a base layer with it. Very cute, very cute. Just kind of further thoughts on these. I do think if you like one of them, it'd be worth it to have one. Now, I received this in PR, so, you know, keep that in mind as I say that. Like, I didn't pay for the three that I have in my possession, but I think they're really cool and unique. And I do think they have some really great shades in the range. I would buy Pluie Mauve again because it's a very cool color. It's like this purple that has green sparkles in it, and I love green, and I've been really into like more cool tones. So like the purple, the cool tone purple with like the sparkles of green is like this meeting of the minds, really. I didn't pay attention, but it did record past 30 minutes. I'm gonna try zooming you in just so we can like look at that together. Cool. But this camera doesn't zoom in as much as my other one did. So I had to like lean in. That's okay. I can do that. Just so you can see. Well, so I can see what this looks like for future reference. I also didn't put earrings in because I wear like those big chunky earrings, and what is the camera gonna think they are? Some of them do have faces on them. I'm gonna apply this on the floor for some stupid reason. The Lash Clash mascara. And then we will put on a lip. And then I think that means we'll be done with my first 4K video. Back to the Taylor Swift of it all. So I have been revisiting 1989 Taylor's version. And the vault tracks, now I'm not like I'm not a true Swiftie, I've been told this, but I also, you know, will admit that like I like the poppier stuff from Taylor Swift. I bought 1989 when it came out. It's like an album that I actually really enjoy. It was a very specific space and time when I was like listening to that album a lot. And so I really like it. It was an album that I owned already by Taylor Swift. Like I bought it when it came out on iTunes. And then I also have the vinyl of the original recordings because that is how much I like that album. And I also have Taylor's version on vinyl. I'll spare you what I feel about the re-recordings because it doesn't really matter. I kind of have the same opinion as everyone else, except I really think that the new Out of the Woods is very good. I think both versions of Out of the Woods are very good. But mama, these vault tracks are something else. Now, I've mentioned a couple times now that we don't talk, now I've been listening to it freely. I've been restraining it. Like the other day, I listened to it like 10 times in a row and I like cried through the whole thing. And, oh, the new version of Clean is really good. I'm so happy that Imogen Heap also worked on Clean again because like her touches on the original one made it special, and the new version of Clean, I also cried to that. And then I also visited My Tears Ricochet and cried through that. I did see the Taylor Swift concert Eras tour thing, and the girl next to me like sobbed through My Tears Ricochet, and I was like, why is she sobbing? I understand now. So I apologize. I tried really hard not to judge her in the moment, but I feel like I owe you a public apology, even though I haven't shamed you until right now, and then I'm now apologizing for it because I now understand. I haven't worn this in a bit. This is the She Tour shade from this brand. From Oma. Is it Oma? Yeah, it's Oma. I thought it would look pretty with Nuage d'Argent. Although I don't think my lips are really liking this. It's certainly clung to the dry patches on my lips, which I don't know why there were anyway, because my lips felt juicy and plump until I hit record. I like the way it looks with this makeup. I feel like it's like my camera's angled weird. Like it's like facing more that way instead of like head on. And I'm not quite sure why it's doing that. Is it doing that? That wraps up the video. So I hope you enjoyed it. I'm sorry if it was weird. I now know that I can film essentially a whole video, because what's really on the docket is a critical sass, but I didn't want to record a critical sass with a new camera because you know what it's going to do. And like, I only have one battery right now. And so the battery is like almost dead. So, you know, I'm learning things. All of that to be said, if you happen to be new here, hi, welcome. If you didn't catch the vibe, my channel is mostly about loving my makeup collection as it currently is, while being very discerning about what I invite into my makeup collection. Now, I'm a growing channel, so sometimes I do get PR, and I do occasionally buy things for the sole purpose of reviewing, but I'm pretty explicit when that happens. So if the kind of content where you see someone using the same things over and over again is what you're into, I would love to have you subscribe. And I also, you know, whenever... Hi, Riot. She's back. She's back at the end of the video again. Like, I try to talk about sales and stuff like that in a way where I'm like, I don't need that kind of thing. So if that's, you know, if you need that kind of content, I'm here for it. And also, a lot of the people in my comment section are on low buys, no buys, and budgeting. So if you need a support system for that, check that out down there. My dog's tail is wagging and hitting the side of me. It's so distracting. I also have a Patreon if you'd like to support me there. It's patreon.com/hautemesstom. Over there, I do additional content. I've been doing like mini vlogs kind of sporadically, so I promise one video a month, but the mini vlogs are like kind of taking the place of that. Still hitting me. I just need to finish this video. I shamed her. She's leaving. I also do my podcast with Kackie of Kackie Reviews Beauty over there. It's called Dumb Bitch Hour, and what we do, it's kind of a senseless podcast, but we have a good time. Those drop on Tuesdays, and that's available on Patreon as well. I do want to set aside just a very big thank you to all of my current patrons. The money that you give me went towards this new camera, which allowed me to record in 4K. So just, you know, I am investing in the channel with that money. I also use that money for like reviews and stuff whenever like something comes out that like would be really great for a review on the channel. So thank you to all my current patrons. You're awesome. And anyone who's been a patron and left my Patreon, thank you too. Thank you for giving me $1 or whatever you gave me. And also, my Patreon starts at $1. Everyone who gives $1 gets the same as anyone who would give more than that. So just so you know. But again, there's no pressure to join my Patreon. It's just completely optional. It's not the right way to support me. It's not the best way to support me. It's just a way to support me. So you can do that if you'd like. I'm on Instagram at hautemesstom. I have merch that's linked down below if you're into merch. And that's that. Remember to follow your haute, and you'll find me. I'll see you in a video very soon. Bye-bye.